I'm sorry, guys. I didn't. I had a noob mistake, and I didn't even check to see if my own stream was muted. So if you caught that echo, that's why you caught it, and I'm sorry you caught it. I'm Sirken. It's Monday, and I'm glad you guys are here. I'm joined by a very wonderful person. He's the guild leader of Azure Guard. He is Nemce. Say hello.
Hello, P99.
If there's volume issues, I'm going to tell you guys in chat. You guys speak up right away and let me know. I promise I'll pay attention for at least a good couple minutes so that I will hear your words. Nemce, sorry to introduce you and then cut you off like that. How are you?
I'm great.
Who are you? For people that might not know, who are you?
I am the guild leader of Azure Guard. I've been on the server for 5 years or so. I finally got my epic. I'm a magician, so that's a big deal and stuff. And Azure Guard is great. We're part of the CSG, which is the Casual Scum Guilds, which apparently Sirken just heard about the other day. And we have good times.
That's excellent. I gotta do a thing real quick because people are already complaining, but it might be worth it. Let me see if I can. No, that's literally the best I can do. I can turn me down. Maybe that will help. I'll turn me down just a tad.
Am I too quiet?
They said you were a little quiet, but I don't think you're quiet. In my ear, you're good. So I'm turning me down, and I'm hoping that that will force them to turn their volume up a little bit, and then everything will be good. That's my hope for this evening.
My mic was also a little far from my mouth, so maybe that helps.
Maybe, but you sound the same to me, so I don't know.
Dang it.
I don't know, but I thought you sounded fine. That's the other thing. So, I can turn that off, I guess. So what's up, Nemce? How is guild leading Azure Guard going on this here Project 1999 server?
Oh, it's good. We're having a great time.
Is that sarcasm? Because I've heard the opposite from literally every other person I've talked to.
Yeah, I mean a little bit.
Okay.
It's okay. I mean, we're seeing mobs that we've never seen. Now we've seen them, but it's all right. So here's the status of the server, from one who is in the server and plays regularly. The mobs in Kunark that were contested with 120 plus man poop socks for days on end um, are not poop sock
Okay.
currently. The poop sock has rotated, and so now the poop sock is in North Tower Vishan and every place else in Velius, like Kale, and where there are big targets. And people have decided that they don't need to epic their 16th alt. They're going to go kill giants and dragons and stuff. So now all the people who have not had a chance at that, because they don't want a poop sock that much, are getting their epics for the first time, and it's pretty awesome for those guys. So on that regard, things are pretty good.
Okay, so what's bad?
What's bad is that the level of entry for these things is drastically higher than it was when we were in Kunark. So like I completely understand Vishan's Peak, 100%. I've watched videos. I know how they do it. I've done it myself on some Forsaken probably shouldn't say that. I've done it myself on some other people's tunes that they have, allowed me to mess around on, kind of somewhat. Anyway, so I've have some firsthand experience on this kind of stuff, and however, what's going on in North Tower of Vishan is like nothing like it in Kale too, because you literally have to break server rules in order to make pulls happen. Every single time.
In Kale?
Oh, specifically Kale, actually. With the way that it goes, so they do their coughing somebody in, and they get the FTE, and then they will pull the mobs back. They'll train all of the castle giants around the zone, and then what they'll do is maybe 3 seconds before they drop a kite, or I guess you could call it a kite, their train. Is they say, hey, we're dropping this train, and then the monk flops or takes this translocate box or whatever and wipes the aggro. And so then all the mobs, other than King Tranich or King Tormax, who runs faster than all of the giants, starts to meander back once they get the pulse secure, and it's like 30, 40 high level giants are just running through the zone, wrecking everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And because it's not a legitimate opposing raid force, it doesn't matter.
I
Um,
see.
so you have to absolutely train people who are doing groups or are in arena. I don't know why they ever go to arena because it's nowhere near there, but they just train it right through arena, um, and all over the zone in order to get these mobs and play, to the level that they're playing at. And I just, even if I could do it, I don't want to do it.
Yeah, you're not the first person to tell me that either. I honestly, most of my time has been spent trying to watch TOV because that's where a lot of my complaints are coming from. I have
Mm.
admittedly and sadly to admit. Look,
I don't
whatever you get what I'm saying. I've not spent as much time watching Kale as I probably should have, and I had no idea it was that bad. To be perfectly honest with you. But then
It's
if you know that shit's gonna happen, if that shit happens every time, why don't you have someone just recording it to turn it in, make the staff aware of it? And
well,
hello,
we did.
Tellen, I love you too.
I think Enthusiast just recently. So we were doing a Vindy raid, and so we're I don't even know if we were killing Vindy or we were moving to Vindy, but we were in arena,
Mm-hmm.
and we weren't even worried about KT, and then KT pops, and then I think it was Asgard or somebody just, yeah, I think it was Asgard. I don't know. Yeah, one of the opposing guilds who are working on it, they run their kite through, and I mean literally it's like 3 seconds. Hey, we're gonna drop this kite, and then they drop it, and then all of the mobs go running back over our raid and kill our raid for obviously a different mob, but so it wasn't an infraction on that mob or whatever. So they didn't really care, and so yeah, my guild's telling me it was Florid from Asgard. So anyway, so we're like, hey, Floor, dude, what's going on? You just completely wiped our raid. We're not really asking you for anything, but why would you do that? And they were like, because you don't matter, because you're not part of this fight and you shouldn't be there. We said that we were dropping it. I was like, yeah, but we got like 50 people here. There's no way we can get out of your way. And he was like, well, we said it. I was like, okay. So we submitted a petition or whatever. We tried working it out with the officers, and he's an officer, the guy who did it, but I don't know.
Right,
It's just
right.
craziness.
Well, that's horrible. That's a horrible thing to. I don't know how you deal with shit like that. To be perfectly
I
honest.
stay in Kunark till you
uh,
guys figure out what's going on and how to make it better.
yeah, I don't know. There's definitely things that have to be done. I mean, the rule system we have right now was created in Kunark, and it was created with the RCFFA system in mind, and then pretty much a two guild thing going on in VP, and I feel like those rules really don't fit the current situation very well anymore.
Hmm.
So I'm trying to touch base with all the different guilds to kind of get their opinion on things, see what they think is going on, and that way I don't do anything crazy without having information on it, because I don't play, the other GMs don't play, and so we only know things based on what we see and what we're told.
Well, and I know that's true, but let me pose to you a not so hypothetical scenario. All
Okay.
right. If we keep the barrier of entry very high by doing things that are blatantly illegal
Barrier of entry for what?
for North Tower Vishan and Kale and Velius mobs.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
If we keep the barrier of entry very high on these highly competitive or these high competition mobs,
Highly
where we're kiting
contested.
things. All right, so I'll name some. You want me to name some?
Yeah, no, no, no. It's just contested was the word you were looking for.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
yes. So these highly contested mobs, um, if we keep that barrier very very high, and we all just agree to a set of standards that may or may not be within the current rule set, what it's going to do is it means that you and me and this other guild and that guild over there who actually are willing and capable to do these kind of training tactics, we're the only ones we have to fight against.
Sure.
And with so many mobs, I don't remember how many there are, like 37 or something like that, actual
30
raid mobs with
something.
Velius
Yeah.
involved. 30 something on a repop Sunday, which is what it is now. We want to have as few people putting their fingers in the mix as possible, so that we can leave one place, go to another place, and only have to fight with, between us, because you can only be so many places pre-camp with so many characters.
When you say fight between us, who's us?
All right, so there's the couple of alliances. There was the Rampage. I'll say what
Pretend
their
I know
server is.
nothing. Pretend I don't know any of the things.
Right. So there's Forsaken and Asgard. They're one alliance right now.
Mm-hmm.
BDA's never been in an alliance, and for that I do give them some points. Not that I'm against alliances, but like they recognize that what's going on is kind of crappy. Then you've got Taken, and what once was what once was Taken, and what once was Rampage is now Awakened. And then I don't know what Divinity's doing, but they're around. So
I
it's
don't
pretty much
see
just
Divinity around as much as I used to.
somehow they still pull like 50, 60 people though when they call the bat phone.
A plus to that.
Yeah, so maybe they're all sleeping. But so it's really just those two guilds that are going back and forth, or well, those two alliances, the FA, the Forsaken Asgard, and then the Awakened. But yeah, so they have these agreements where they're like, this is what we're gonna do, and we're not gonna really. We'll work it out because that's what the server will say, but let's also work it out so that we don't have to change what we're doing, even though it's not exactly legal, so that the barrier stays real high. So that's the situation, and we're not really willing to, like, I'll lose out on pixels in order to follow the rules of the server, because I value that higher than training nubs and kale. Like, that's pretty crappy.
Right. I don't blame you for that. So I mean, do you guys just not do Kale if there are other guilds there? Like, you don't even bother, or do you, like, when do you deem like okay, now is a good time to do Kale? Like, what makes it that way?
Well, kale is fine. I mean, I'm specifically talking about Tormax.
Okay. Well,
Because
do you guys
Tormax,
go for Tormax then? Or
we
do you...
have, but we've just gotten wrecked by trains before because we fight. We try fighting in, and then just a train of 40 giants come flying through, and then they drop it right on our heads, and we're like, all right, well, I guess that didn't work.
What
So,
happens when you try talking to these other guilds about this? When you're like, hey, you guys just trained us. Like,
well, it
do you
depends
do
on the
that?
guild. I mean, I don't want to make a blanket statement for
You
all of the
don't
guilds.
just use like Guild A or Guild B or Guild C. Just refer to them like that.
Well, I'll say Haku. I'll be specific. Haku was really great about saying, like, he would tell us in advance, you really need to move your raid because we're going to pull this in the next 2 minutes. A lot of those other guilds won't do anything like that because they're afraid that we're going to make some move if they say that. And so they wait until like seconds before they plan. And so we'll send them a tell, Guild A, okay, I send Guild A tell, and I'm like, hey, you should really not train us. Silence.
And you're
At
talking about
most,
like before they start their pull, like you're just trying to give them a heads up that you're there.
yeah, like, okay, so 50 of them show up in the zone in a couple of seconds, and we got our good 75 CSG members that are moving along and doing. And this is actually really for a lot of different mobs. So we'll go ahead and we'll move our raid along, and then they send us a tell and they say, or I send them a tell, and I'm like, hey, you should not train us because we are here. We're at this point of the map. Don't train us. And then I hear nothing, and then I get and this is more than one time, and then I get an OOC saying, pulling, watch out for the trains, and then there's mobs coming around the corner. This is after the FTE message has gone out. So it's just, I don't really know. Communication's not a thing.
That's sad. That's sad. It sounds was that the only guild you said that really would do that consistently?
I mean, the Forsaken Asgard Alliance is pretty known for doing it. Hakushin and the Rampage guys would do it, but they would communicate way in advance, which only made it marginally better. Like I just wish there was a different way of rating.
Hmm.
Um, I just wish we would like follow the rules. Like I don't care what the rules are, but I just wish everyone did. And if the rules were, hey, training's cool. By the way, here's a suggestion for you and the staff. What if training was legal, always legal, like completely legal?
I mean, you'd have to get Nilbog to sign off on that, but if it
Well, I
comes
mean,
down from the mountain, then that's fine with me. It's less things I have to deal with.
totally less things you have to deal with, and it completely levels the playing field. You guys might have 120 people, but I send one monk in and just train Vishan all over the place until we figure out some way of fair play.
Like most petitions, unless it comes from Bracknar or unless the person's online, I can knock them out in like 60 to 90 seconds. And raid petitions literally have taken me multiple hours, and it's a giant pain in the ass to deal with them when I only have, say, 3 or 4 hours to do petitions, and I have to decide between, okay, do I handle this raid petition in a timely fashion, and that's the only petition I'm going to do today,
Right,
or do I knock out like 60 other petitions and help 60 other people?
right.
And so I feel bad sometimes because I know raid petition and raid suspensions come out later than they should, but that's really the logic behind it. It's just I'm trying to help as many people as I can with the time I have available, and so I'll
Right.
do raid petitions in batches, and that's why they come out the way they do. But I don't know. I don't want you guys to have to resort to petition quest and lawyer quest and all that dumb crap. I don't want players feeling like they have to walk on eggshells, but I also don't want players petitioning each other for every stupid petty little thing. Um, if some guilds are able to work together, excuse me, and if some guilds are and some guilds are not, like if some guilds are just not willing to communicate, or they do it at such a minimum level that they're only really doing it so that they can say in court, I did communicate. Like that's not right. Like
Right.
everybody's here for the same reason, and I've said it before, and I know it rubs some people the wrong way when I say it, but not all guilds are created equally, and so you're not going to have every guild getting access to all the same things, because while some servers did have rotations, your GM staff didn't play on servers with rotations. And so in our eyes, Classic is having, one or two or three like top tier guilds, and then having maybe 3 or 4 second tier guilds, and then having the rest of your raiding guilds in like a tier 3, and then everyone else who really doesn't raid yet. And we're okay with that. What we're not okay with is if you see a guild, like let's say Azure Guard is like, you know what, we're gonna start raiding North TOV because fuck it. And so you guys go to TOV, like you shouldn't have to deal with being trained, and you shouldn't have to deal with people breaking rules to keep you out of there. Um, if you're willing to throw your hat into that ring and do the things by the rules, then you should have just as realistic of a shot as anyone else who's there.
Well, let me propose a situation or a circumstance to you. Um, Yelnak just pops. Okay. Now Yelnak is all the way over in Sky Shrine. So some of those people they switch over to their Yelnak tunes and they're killing Yelnak. Or Dragon Necropolis and Zlandikar is getting wrecked by um, the Forsaken and Asgard alliance. Well, we of the Azure Guard and CSG affiliation are looking to kill, um, I don't know, Dagarn or some dragon in North TOV. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're camped out at entrance. We're all dragon factions. So what happens is Dagarn pops up while everyone's over there in Yelnak territory.
Mm-hmm.
And so then I log in and I call the bat phone. And everybody shows up in TOV, and we run with Invis all the way to the North TOV drop off because it's all safe if you're factioned. And then we start dropping down. We kill some flurry drakes, and then we're moving up to Dagarn along the right side, and we're killing along, and then we get probably, let's say, halfway there to Dagarn, and then they all finish with Yelnak, so they swap back and they pop up, they do their call the hero and brings, with their gate potion or whatever they're doing, and they run with DA and they tag Dagarn, and then they hit their gate potion, and then all of a sudden half the zone, all the way from triplets, north side of TOV, comes rushing down over top of our raid, getting social aggro on all of us. They bring the mob in. We don't know what we're doing now because we're all staring at a place where the dragon once was, and we're like, okay, so what's happening here? And then they pull it right over us, past us, drop the kite, and we can't even camp out before everything comes back and wrecks us. So what we did not train anybody. We just choose to not raid the way that they choose to raid. We're not trying to get every dragon in the game. We're trying to get one dragon that we are specifically camped out for with our 75 players. We're not training. We're not kiting. We're not breaking any server rules. And then this other guild comes in and plays the game the way the game is played currently. The way that their guild leader has trained them, like a soldier. This happens, this happens, this happens. If this pops, you do A, B, C. Otherwise, you lose the mob. That's how they're trained. So
Right.
they don't pay attention to the rules. The rules are not part of A, B, or C. You log on, you do this, you do this. And so then they pull right over us, no circumstance considered, and wipe our raid. Who gets the preference in that situation according to the rules?
Well, I mean, they're not allowed to train, period. So, I mean, if at any time they do that, they're in the wrong. I know for many years people did pulling the way they did pulling in VP, and I know at the start of Velius there were player agreements in effect, but as of right now, the only rules in effect are the server rules, and so that means no training. And if they're dumping mobs on you, or if they're pulling mobs through your camp and it's landing on you, like, they're in the wrong, period. I don't know if that fully addresses everything you said. I tried to grab everything and put a short little bow on it, but if I'm failing to address a thing, you should tell me.
Well, I mean, I understand what you're saying, that, like, okay, don't train, that's a rule. Like, I get that. But
right,
the
but I
player
mean,
quest is
protect
strong.
yourselves too. Have somebody that can run. I guarantee there's someone in your guild that has a good enough computer that can run fraps, or an OBS local recording, or an XSplit local recording, or something.
Sure, and if we planned on doing that, we would absolutely have multiple people that have that ability.
But
Like,
I mean, protect
ready.
yourselves. You're not going to run a shop in the ghetto and not have security cameras. Why would you go into TOV or go after Tormax when you know there's going to be bullshit and not have anything running to cover your ass?
Sure. And if we got that information, what's the best form of evidence that we would want to present to you? Because there's a lot going on during that. What are we looking for?
Video
That
is
you're
the
looking.
best.
I
If
say
it's
I have video.
training,
What
if
am I
it's
looking
training, you're gonna want the trainer bringing mobs into your camp. Like, you're gonna want the culprit committing the act on video. Like, a lot of people don't do that. They don't realize that. They just show, like, circumstantial things, like, here I am in my raid party. Here's our raid party getting killed. But it doesn't actually show anybody bringing mobs into camp. It doesn't show who's responsible. You're basically showing me your guild getting wiped and telling me to take your word for it on who's to blame. So those I really don't do anything with. And even then, like, I'm not saying the person's lying. I'm not saying it didn't happen that way. I'm just saying the fraps you're showing me doesn't support the claim you're making right then at that moment. Another thing I always tell players when they try to make a raid petition is I ask them if they've tried to work it out with the other guild, and I ask them for proof of that. So when you do shoot the other guild a tell and be like, hey, you guys effed up here, and they tell you that you don't count or you don't matter or whatever they say, like, take a screenshot of that and put it in the petition as well, so you can be like, yeah, we tried to talk to them and here's what they said. And then I'll look at everything and I'll be like, yeah, no, this is 100% not acceptable, and then I'll bring a hammer down on somebody. because I'm all about competitive things. I'm all about making you guys do horrible things that will hopefully ruin your real lives, so that you can maybe have a chance of killing a dragon.
Well, we obviously hate ourselves too because we're here.
I mean, this whole community hates themselves on one level or another, except for Nilbog, because he doesn't deal with people. He's just in his cave doing classic EverQuest, and
Building his little boats.
every one of us are his little like guinea pig beta testers in a different kind of, depending on how you look at it, that's how it is.
All right.
So yeah.
Well,
Yeah, that's the thing. I have an idea. I don't want to say it on stream, but I do have an idea that a player sent me in a private message about just one way that could maybe make the raid scene a tiny bit better. And I got to run it past Rogan and Nilbog just to make sure they're on board with it, because it's kind of a big change. It's not something I feel I can just do without a green light from one or both of them. But it would make guilds, I don't know, it would make guilds matter more. Like, they wouldn't be able to half-ass things, and it's hard to talk about without like giving it away, I guess. But I'm hoping it's a good idea. I still want to do some kind there are secrets. I still want to do some kind of meeting with you and me and the other guild leaders, just to kind of touch base with everybody. And I know some people might have ideas that other guild leaders will be like, well, let me play devil's advocate to that, and they can bring up why that would be a bad idea. And these are things, again, that because I'm not playing, I might hear an idea but not see how it can be abused right away. And so I feel it just would be real good to have other eyes on everybody else's ideas, as opposed to just doing one-on-ones with everybody.
right. Well, I mean, some other things that you should take in consideration, I'm sure you have, is that the scene has drastically changed. So things that maybe didn't work before, when there were 9, 12, however many competitive guilds that were going for Kunark mobs, might work now, because there's really a couple entities, like 3, 4, maybe 5 entities, and we have a lot more mobs now that are competitively going for those higher tier mobs. So I don't know if that plays into anything that could be done, but it's definitely a good data point to work into a system.
I like it. Yeah, I agree. I agree with all of those words you just made.
All right, I got 2 more things I want to ask. Now that I have
you have my undivided attention.
to be on stream, and I do.
Time out. I'm interrupting you.
Okay.
Burrito, you've been noticed. All right, you may continue.
Okay. Dang it! I forgot what one of them was. All right, the other one is. God.
That's better. That's less work for me.
Ah, man. All right, so one of them is and we talked a little bit before, but I just want it said that I brought this to you, is the Dane thing. There's really no good answer here.
Yeah,
right?
Actually, I'm still waiting on a response from that. That just reminded me, I'm gonna copy and paste and copy and scroll down. We moved to a new thing, and I'm not very familiar with it yet.
Is this a software that you moved to?
I suppose. I don't know. I don't even know what I'm allowed to say anymore. We moved to a new thing.
So many secrets.
That's all you need to know. There's a thing, it's
okay.
new, we're moved to it.
All right.
Oh.
Sounds good.
I don't know if I'm a fan of it yet or not, to be completely honest. Alright, I'm gonna scroll up real quick. I don't need to. I know Saldio had a question. He wanted to know, in my opinion, we're gonna do your opinion too, what ramifications would a refresh server have on the community? And I think he's talking about the recycle server. And Nemce, what do you think? How do you think a recycle server would affect the community?
Is this recycle server going to play out like Diablo's ladder server?
I have no idea.
Well, like I mean, so do you go 6 months and then it dumps all current data onto this one massive server, and then you just, if you want to recreate a character, you can?
I don't know for
Or do I lose
certain,
everything?
but let's just say, for the sake of this discussion, that it starts off at Classic, goes through the timeline chronologically correct, and then at the end of Elias, say, however long the amount of time from launch of Elias to launch of Luckland, let Velius run that long, and then merge it into the existing blue server. That would be my hypothetical discussion. I'm not saying that's the plan or that's what's going to happen. I'm just saying that's, for the sake of this discussion, let's pretend that's how it's going to go.
Well, I definitely think it's going to get rid of some people off of this server.
For sure.
I don't know that's what you want, though, because, I mean, you guys have benchmarks that you want to probably be hitting on a weekly basis as to how many people are actively on your server.
Well, I mean, I'm not going to lie. Like, we absolutely love seeing that lots of people want to play here and that do play here. And if half of them left, it would not be the greatest feeling in the world.
Mm-hmm.
But,
and I like the competition on this server. Like, I want competition.
I feel like the total number of players, like, I don't feel like people would just leave the project. I feel like if anything, people would move to this other server and maybe not play both. But I think if you just totaled up the numbers of all three servers, they would be the same as two servers currently. Like, I don't think we'd lose people from the project. I think we'd lose people from the blue server, and only because they would go to the other server. And some of them would fucking be two boxing. Or not two boxing, but you know what I mean. They'd be playing characters on both.
No, I mean, I think it would get rid of some congestion, sure. I don't know that congestion's the worst thing in the world, though. Like, I don't feel like we're super congested on the server. We've gone down in terms of how many players there have been on the server since Velius has launched. It's been a slow decrease.
I mean, yes. I think that's definitely a thing. I don't know how you guys did Kunark as long as you did with such a small amount of raid targets. At least Velius brought 30 something more to the table. Shit, I was just gonna read a question and it just scrolled off my screen. Yeah, Boyk. He wants to know, so if a guild decides to clear up in TOV, all other guilds need to abstain from pulling. Are these guilds allowed to camp out past the zone and to log in and attempt to clear these mobs?
Well, they know that's against the raid rules.
Yeah, if you're past the zone and you can't go after the raid target if it pops, but you are allowed to kill trash otherwise. Nobody can claim an entire wing or zone, but if someone is there killing things, I mean, you obviously can't steal their mobs. Leapfrogging, while not the classiest thing in the world, it's not illegal. So I wouldn't say other guilds have to abstain from pulling. I guess at the end of the day, FTE is king. So if you're going after a raid target, don't have people pass zone in and get FTE. And I feel like that's a very good, thorough answer to that question.
Yeah. I think you'd still have pocket races if you cleared. I don't know how to make it work. I don't know how you can get people to make clearing work. I mean, these things people just have to win. Like, those higher...
winning is very important on
so
this here
important.
server.
It's like, forget pixels. Winning is all they care about. Because they're very mercenary. I know a couple of people who've been in those higher tiered guilds, and they go back and forth. Back when it was like TMO and IB, they just went back and forth between them because 1 week, it was all about VP. Like, you got to get that 6 out of 6, right?
Right.
So if it was like, oh man, we got 4 out of 6 this week, and we did it 2 weeks in a row now, like above average, and everyone would be like, oh, all right, 75% of the guild just moved over. And it's crazy. It's a whole nother world.
There are a lot of loot whores slash sheep that just bounce wherever the get in is the easiest. But every guild definitely has their core that will be there through thick and thin, I think.
Oh,
Um,
for sure.
but no, I definitely do notice that when tides turn from one guild to the other guild, especially in the IB TMO days. It's gotten better now, I'd say. The
I think
the
so.
the joint raiding stuff that's been happening with well, I guess they merged, but with Rampage and Taken, and then Forsaken and Asgard. Like, I thought that was an interesting turn of events. I wasn't expecting that, and I believe originally Taken was with Forsaken and Asgard, and then they switched sides. Um,
Taken was with Forsaken and Asgard.
I'm
Yeah,
pretty
I think
sure that
so.
was a thing because I
For a
remember
very small
jokes
period of
about the
time,
Fat
maybe.
Alliance.
Oh, right, fat, right. Of
Right.
course. Yeah. Yeah.
And then I had to deal with jokes from Rampage people being like, we took the T out of fat. And it's like, you're not being funny. That's not a funny thing. But now they merged, so they're not joint rating.
Yeah, I guess. Well,
Mm,
some of them broke off and made bacon, right?
no, Bacon was they
No, Falameni's in bacon, and so is Frugal, and so
that
is.
guild existed before anything wrapped up with Rampage though. That was an alt guild that Fumieni had. And so when they wanted to keep raiding but couldn't raid as Rampage, they piled into Bacon because it was a tag they could raid under without waiting for a staff member to make a new one and without having to think of a name and whatever. And then as everything got ironed out, Awakened was the end result.
Hmm. So they're all in Awaken now.
I suppose, unless I'm sure there might be some people who are like, I hate this other guild and I refuse to merge with them. I will stay bacon tagged.
Sure.
Sure. Deldian wanted to know if I'd support outlawing magician called the hero training. Training? Is that what that actually said? Tracking. There you go. How do you feel about the cough bullshit, tracking bullshit?
I don't even know what this server would look like without coughing. It's been so long. Oh, I accidentally just stabbed a guard. Oops.
Run.
I could kill him.
But your
All right, I'll run.
faction.
Yeah. Well, anyway, so what would we do at Trakanon if we didn't have Call of the Hero? We would clear down. I mean, I'd be interested in that, or we would just train each other. Okay, so I figured out my answer. My answer is yes. I would love to get rid of Call of the Hero tracking, and corpse dragging and rezzing, because that would be the next thing. But you would have to very, very intentionally make sure we don't train the crap out of each other as we are leapfrogging down to Yelnak and to Trakanon and to Dragon Acropolis. Well, they're already doing that in Dragon Acropolis. Never mind. So yes.
Yeah, a staff member got killed the other night, Friday night.
How do you train a staff member and like, no man, we're completely legit.
I don't even know what happened. Like, staff members shouldn't get aggro from anything. So, I don't even understand what happened. I had to reset his level, though.
Can he not do invulnerable or whatever it is?
You know, you gotta do
Hashtag.
it every time you zone, and
That's pretty annoying.
it's a pain in the ass. I don't ever do it. Until I get AE'd by a dragon, then I do it.
And hey, Dal, you're a good person.
And I think Call of the Hero races are stupid, and if I could just make Call of the Hero not work in certain zones and Classic be damned, I would do that in a second, in an absolute second. But unfortunately, I am not the one with the magic wand, and anything that's not Classic needs approval from Nobog or Rogan or both, and it's just much more of a pain in the ass to get that approval than it is to just try to do the things that I can do just by myself.
Well, let me ask you a question. How hard is it for you to look on like a mob pops and dies, how hard is it for you to say, oh, this mage was camped out at this location?
I
Uh,
cannot see where people are camped out.
oh, interesting. Can
I
you see
can
where they
until
cast a
they.
spell?
No. Do you have any idea how much space that would take up if we logged every time somebody casted a spell?
Yeah, true. True. I'm not a developer.
That would just think about every time anybody casts a spell in EverQuest. Like, it's a lot.
It's a lot of space.
I mean, shit. You could pick any category. You could pick buffs, you could pick damage, you could pick anything. And it's a lot. It's too much. People think we're like NSA levels of logging. There's a lot of things like we don't log. Like there's people who are like, just check your logs, blah blah blah. It's like, yeah, let me pull up my magical RMT guilty player table and oh, sure enough, there he is. You're right, he's guilty. Like these things don't exist. We can't see. We don't always talk about what we can and cannot see because we like players to assume we can see everything, but sometimes it really is laughable, um, the things that players think we are logging or looking at.
Hmm.
So yeah, that's my opinion on Call the Hero racing. It's stupid. Um, what's my view on Epic Emu's The Sleeper server? I'm ashamed to admit I don't know a lot about it. Is that Keg server? If that's Keg server, it's garbage and shitty and a piece of shit.
I don't know anything about it either.
Yeah, I don't know. I know Project 2002 is run by some good people. Um, I'm pretty sure the TAC project was run by good people. But, and I might be biased, but Project 1999 is definitely run by some good people. And coincidentally, they also do classic EverQuest better than anyone else on the internet. And so, if that's the itch you're trying to scratch, really www.project1999.com is your one-stop shop for basically everything classic EverQuest. Lazy, you can borrow no dollars. Nix, I don't know. You gotta talk to a Rampage member. Sirken trained us once by getting AE'd. That's very possible. Yes, yes, yes. Celdio, how often do you have to escalate issues to Rogan and Nilbog? Very rarely. There's sometimes where a player will think I made a grossly poor decision and they will appeal it over my head, but that doesn't happen often. I think in 4 years, maybe 2 or 3 times that I've been overruled. There's times where I'm not 100% sure how I want to handle something, and so I'll ask for opinions or feedback or advice just to make sure that I'm not being too light or heavy-handed either way. And so
Oh,
yeah.
somebody said, never seen CSG attempt TOV. Why don't you try and compete before you change the rules? I've got every timer on every dragon that's died in TOV in the last month and a half. I've watched every kill that's happened, and I've not seen the nature of the beast change yet. The day I do is the day I'll bring my people in.
Yeah.
I don't have to walk into a brothel to know there are whores there. No
I
offense to
mean,
any strippers or whatever.
no offense to any brothel workers that
Yeah,
may be
right.
watching tonight.
I don't want to offend anyone.
No, but I don't want angry letters. Um,
Brothels.
no, I mean, I don't blame you. If you're not willing to do what other people are doing and you know you have to do that to have a chance, be it, training or just certain tactics, whatever. Like, I don't blame you for not being there. Again, you're not the only guild who's told me that's the reason that they don't even bother with certain things. What I need to do, what I feel is my responsibility, is to help create an environment that you guys do want to throw your hat into, and not like, yeah, we're gonna wait for it to get better. Like I want to get it better.
Yeah, and I'll throw my hat in like once a week. I'm not throwing it in on every mob. I know where my place is on the server, and I'm happy to do that. Like, I'm okay. I'll fight you guys once in a while.
All right.
but I want to be able to do that.
Ghostface talking about how about just having COH wipe aggro. I would actually be in favor with that because I know at some point that happens, but I don't remember if that's in Luckland or not.
Call the Hero does wipe aggro.
Does it already? I don't
Yeah.
think it does.
Dude, I'm a mage. I'm
Then
probably
how
the
are they
server's
able
longest
to
standing mage. I
how
know.
how are they able to do pulls in TOV with Call the Hero if it keeps the if it clears the aggro, then the train won't keep coming to them.
Okay, well you cough up, and then you bind using a locket of escape where you need to, and then you gate yourself over with a gate potion.
All right. You guys are just horrible people.
Horrible, horrible people.
Nitsude, hello. Yes, that's shitty server's keg server. Yeah, fuck keg server. Dun, 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 dun. That's sorry, that was not very professional, but I felt it was warranted. Cap5, hello. I just want to say a big thanks for how quickly you answered my petitions. How are you with your queue? I haven't seen petition quest in a while. Doing okay. I have less than a full page of petitions waiting for me as of like 2 hours ago, which is very exciting for me. I haven't done petition quest streams because I do them a lot faster when I'm not streaming because I'm not interacting with chat and I'm not getting distracted all the time. Sometimes it takes me 10 minutes, 15 minutes to do one reimbursement when if I'm not streaming I can do it in 60 to 90 seconds, and my minutes have been just so hard lately because of real life things, so I'm just trying to do I'm trying to help as many people as possible, and as much as I like streaming and doing petitions with you guys, it slows the process down, and so when my time is limited I really kind of just got to focus on helping as many people as I possibly can. And so that means no petition quest unless I got a good handle on it. But hopefully soon, maybe tomorrow afternoon, if I decide not to go to work again. I didn't go to work today, so
Hopefully he gets fired.
hopefully I get fired. But we're not going to talk about that. Epic Emu wants to know. Oh, I'm sorry, I was rude. Do you have any opinions on how fast I answer petitions or do petition quests?
Me?
Mm-hmm.
I send people to do it. I mean, you do what you can. There's a lot of people. I would say that rules would mean more if somebody broke them on Tuesday and by Wednesday the petition was dulled out on raid petitions. But I mean, you can only do
100%
so
agreed.
much.
That's one of my biggest regrets is that I can't knock out raid petitions faster than I do. Like I know it's messed up that sometimes it takes weeks, and I feel legitimately bad about that. It's something I'm really not proud of. But I'm hoping that I can work a system in that will help that.
Side note, your lack of understanding on Call of the Hero mechanics disturbs me, so I wanted to mention that you also know that translocate within zone does not wipe aggro?
Yes.
Okay, because that is also a way that you pull in North Tower Vishan.
Right, I know about that. I'm pretty sure the res box doesn't clear aggro either.
Resbox should clear aggro.
Should it?
I think?
I don't know. I've never
it's
did
just-
pulling that way,
It's
so
just
I
such
don't
an
know.
next level way of manipulating it, so I don't really know either.
These people have had way too much time to think about these mechanics.
Well, I mean, I liked it back in the day when I thought it was pretty brilliant when you would like put a bunch of DA idols on corpses at Trakanon's lair prior to him popping, and then go in and grab up DA idols and just permanently lock a DA down.
Yeah. I liked it when people actually raced for targets, but 2011's never coming back.
That's never coming back.
It's
And
never
yes,
come
Resbox
back.
does clear aggro. I just tested.
All right, A+. See, science. Now we know. Epic Emu has more questions. Do you support open source? If so, do you support Epic Emu the Sleeper's open source code for Classic to Valius, which is available? I see what you're doing there, sir. Your underhanded advertising. Here's the thing. just like with P99 rules, I don't think things are that black and white. I am always going to be against saying, if this happens, then you always do this. I don't think it's good in any kind of judgment slash punishment slash trial system. I don't think it's good in the real life legal system. I don't think it's good in emulated EverQuest rules system. I don't think it's good anywhere. I think things need to be looked at on a case by case basis, because there's always little things that are different that make situations different. Two situations are very rarely identically the same. And so just being like, well, if this happens, then you do this, and trying to paint it with that brush just seems ignorant and lazy to me. And so I'm not going to say like I just blindly support or don't support open source. I see the benefits of it, and I see the not benefits of it. If you are working on a project that is an ongoing project, why on earth would you do a bunch of work for other people to basically steal your idea until you're done, either A, working on it, or B, done with it altogether? I mean, I personally would never do that. If I was working on a thing, be it an emulated thing or an original creation thing, I wouldn't share anything until I was done using it. And when I was done using it, then yeah, give it to public or give it to whoever you want, and say, keep this dream running, keep making improvements and whatnot. But I'm not going to let other people benefit off work I'm doing, especially if I'm trying to take an integrity based route where, like, I know a lot of people don't believe this, but we don't do RMT on staff. We don't allow players to do RMT on staff. We most certainly are not going to put in time and resources and fucking all the shit we put into P99 so that some other group of assholes can take the code in the database, start a server, and start charging people money for items and to play, and basically profit off the work that Nilbog, the devs, Rogan, people like that have put into the server. Like, that is much shittier, in my opinion, than not sharing your source code with people. And so in that situation, I'm perfectly fine with that not being open source. But if it was done and closed and there was no like legal binding reason that he couldn't, then yeah, go ahead and release it. Because if you're not going to do anything with it, and if you're done with it, then share it with the world. Don't be selfish. Don't let it die. And so that's my opinion on your question, Epic Emu.
Probably the same person that posted that thread in the server chat asking about, hey, can we ever get the code that you guys made?
Maybe. He likes to ask for it, and this other nerd doing an EQ browser thing likes to try to bug people for it. But it's never going anywhere. Like, I mean, Nilbog is sitting on that like a cartoon rooster from Bugs Bunny sitting on an egg. I mean, that shit ain't going anywhere. And yeah, how do you feel about open source stuff, Nemce?
I don't even know what that is.
Alright, cool. Moving on. Borfetta worked the brothel in the foreign quaternariac. She good lady and don't take no offenses.
Oh.
So, you know.
How much does she charge?
I don't know, but you better watch out when you talk shit about brothel workers.
Dang it. Already hate mail.
Already.
It's been less than 5 minutes. That's probably been 20.
Some very trolly looking account says, I've decided to quit EverQuest today. I had a lot of fun on P99, but this chapter of my life must now come to an end. I want to thank you and everyone else who has made P99 possible. Well, sir, go ahead.
Don't you feel bad now for calling him a troll?
I don't know. I'm not convinced he's not a troll. But just in case, I will say it's a game. I mean, if it's no longer fun or enjoyable, then you shouldn't play it. People play games to have fun and for enjoyment. And so, right. Yeah. But I also know EverQuest is like heroin, and just because you're clean today doesn't mean you're not going to relapse down the road. And when you do, I'll be right here waiting.
And I don't even know that I'll be able to sleep tonight until I figure out some of those massive questions about EverQuest, which just keep you driving and going. Like, is Vaniki male or female? Which was just asked in my guild chat, and so I guess I need an answer for that, Sirken.
What's the full name of the mob?
Vaniki.
What color is it?
Rat? Whatever color rats are? It's the rat dragon necropolis. Can you actually figure this out?
I'm
Is it
gonna
like coded?
science it. No, but I mean,
Oh, dang it.
maybe.
Are mobs identified in...
Here's the thing. I'm gonna use Game of Thrones logic on you. And I'm just gonna say that dragons don't have like one set sex like people do. They're able to do whatever the fuck they want. Done. Bang, done.
Someone just said that with a weapon like Will Sapper, it's got to be a female.
I'm not commenting on that because I've heard from people close to me that sometimes I can come off as being mildly sexist, which is not the case. I'm going to clarify something. I say a lot of times that I'm 100% against females on staff and that I don't think they'd be good staff members. I don't mean that towards all females. There are some females, you know me as a perfect example, who I think would make excellent staff members. And I know it's unfair to paint with broad strokes and such, but on a certain level, I just feel that I'm going to ruin it all, aren't I? I'm going to ruin it all. We're just going to move on. The end.
Look at this trick. Someone just said, Nix just said that if you dance, you type /dance, it will say you dance with her, or it, or him. Man.
Oh, that's actually really smart.
Yeah, next level immersion.
Good job, Nix.
Speaking of next level immersion, I need to clarify one more side note. This is the second one I did tonight.
Yeah.
Someone corrected me on the fact that res boxes clear aggro and therefore can't be used for North EOV pulling. Mm-hmm. That is true. That is false. The way
did you just say that is true? That is false?
False positives all day long. You can use it if you throw a projectile. There's a delay on the projectile, so you can click it, accept your res, and
what is wrong with you people?
After.
How do you even figure that out? Like, what is wrong with you people? Put way too much thought into a game. I was playing. I'm gonna tell you something. I was playing Rust earlier today, and I ran by a house and I heard a furnace running, and I was like, "Oh shit! That means this player is online and possibly in his house or coming back soon." So you know what I did? I hid behind a rock, and I heard him coming out of his house, and I opened his door, and I didn't even think about it. He opened his door. I shot him. I ran inside. He respawned outside. He closed the door. He locked me in, and I had to deal with that. I had to figure. I got myself into a pickle. But I will never be the type of person who sits and thinks long enough to be like, well, if I throw a thing, there's a little bit of a delay before the res, and then I can do what I want to do. I'll never be that person, because I just charge in and have fun. I don't know how people have fun playing games like this.
We don't go there. We hide in fear and kill golems.
Golems drop pretty nice loot now.
They do, and they're way more fun because you can just like keep your whole raid in the zone and kill things, and then when they pop, you're like, oh crap, terror's up, and then you pull it, and then you get Shadow Knight's epics. It's really awesome.
There's also, I'm like, maybe not, maybe I'm wrong, but I imagine like, and this is probably one of the shittier things of being in your guild, or not being in your guild, but being the guild leader of your guild. I imagine there's a lot of people who, as they come up into level, say, they just hit the level 50 area, they're looking to join a guild like yours, and then they just really kind of use it as a stepping stone and move on. And I know that's not everybody, but I'm sure that is something you've experienced.
Sure. Well, back in the day, TMO had a list of, what they call them, leapfrog guilds, or... Mm-hmm. Lily-pad guilds, I think. I don't really remember what they officially call them, but it was a list of guilds that, like, if you wanted to join and you didn't have your epic and you weren't 60 and you didn't have, whatever, 150 resist and this, that, or the other thing, they would suggest go join this guild, or this guild because they train their people well in how to raid. And we were on that list.
So it's almost like a college program. Like for football, it's like, well, you're going to want to look at these universities because they run a pro-style offense and it'll get you ready for the NFL and blah, 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 blah. That's really effed up that's how raiding is.
Well, it's not anymore, I don't think. I mean, they
But it's
never
kind of
called us and
flattering,
said
right?
it,
You're
but
one of those universities running the pro style offense.
I mean, I guess. I guess. The sad thing is, like, when you're really good friends with these people, you think, and then they get their track tooth in level 60 or whatever, and then they're like, all right, and then they don't even say bye. They just de-guild. It's like
Oh,
you're in
that's
a relationship,
shitty.
and then you wake up one morning as they're sleeping next to you the night before, and all their stuff's moved out, and you're like, what happened? I thought what we had was special.
All right, so A plus. I forgot the question, but
Oh,
I
Nick,
feel
shut
like
up.
that was a real good answer.
Sorry.
Fat Mice wants to know why Nitsude always gets a shout out. That's because Nitsude is awesome. Scrolling down until I see my name highlighted. Eyes in the Dark. Hello, Eyes in the Dark. He is another streamer of the P99. You can click on his name and check out his stream or follow him right here. He's good people. I've been promising him screenshots for a long time. And I keep telling myself I'm going to do it. And for some horrible reason, I usually think about it while I'm playing Rust. And then I'll be like, oh yeah, no, I'll do it when I log in. But I never actually think about it while I'm logged in game. But Eyes in the Dark, I haven't forgot about you. I just don't remember about you at the appropriate times. And you're close. It's not a lavender scented candle. It's an apple cinnamon scented candle, and it goes out every like so often, so I have to relight it. Fat Mice, I will remember to consistently give shout outs to Nitsude, which I'm sure is what you're talking about. Do you support opening non-watermelon Sour Patch Kids? If so, do you support me eating non-watermelon Sour Patch Kids while I'm watching your stream? Nitsude, I'm glad you asked such an important question. Here's the thing. I don't discriminate against Sour Patch Kids. Yes, like every parent, I do have my favorite. And so the watermelon kids are my favorite. And I will give them toys that I would not give to the other flavored kids. But that being said, I think all the Sour Patch Kids deserve your love. And I think, oh man, I was gonna make a joke, and now I realize that it might not be as inside joke as I would like it to be. Oh, sad times, sad times. You guys pay too much attention to things. Saldio, hello, Saldio. Oh shit, hold on, Saldio. Nemce,
What?
do you have an opinion on Watermelon Sour Patch Kids? These are the questions people want to know. These are the groundbreaking, like, stressing issues on our server.
I think that people like the red ones way too much. They talk about it all the time as
Red
if
is
that's like the
overrated.
ideal one. It's
Yeah.
so overrated. I'm a big fan of the green ones.
Okay.
Not a fan of the yellow ones at all. I'm a little racist.
I mean, really nobody likes the yellow Sour Patch Kids. Let's be real. You're never ever going to walk into a store and see a bag of yellow Sour Patch Kids for sale. That will never happen.
Wait, do they sell monocolored Sour Patch?
I don't know. They definitely sell watermelon Sour Patch Kids.
Oh, those are so bad though.
No, I wholeheartedly disagree with you.
Oh my goodness, they're awful.
Oh, P99 Cartafel. I forgot to say it earlier, but thank you for hitting the follow button. I see your name in chat. I appreciate it. It makes me feel good in my warm, fuzzy parts. Celdio, back to you. What would you say is the most rewarding thing about being on the P99 staff? That is actually a really easy question, and I'm going to blast it out of the park, and I'm going to reword it a little bit and throw it at Nemce. I love this game. I love EverQuest. I love EverQuest so goddamn much. It's borderline embarrassing. It's definitely unhealthy. I would argue, and I could be very wrong about this. I absolutely could be super wrong about this, but I would argue that I love EverQuest more than people who currently work on live EverQuest. I love this game more than any other game I've ever played in my life. And if I can bring some kind of enjoyment to people through this game, the way this game brought me enjoyment when I used to be a player on it, both on live and on the emulator, I want to do that. And so that's why when live does things right, like release the Finny server with a no 2-boxing rule, I will tell people, if you want to play live, check out this Finny server. I think they're they did a very bold, ballsy decision, especially from a business point of view, where people are paying for those accounts to box. You saying no to boxing because we want the server to be good, we want that social aspect. Like I have to tip my hat to that and thumbs up and acknowledge, that's a classy move. And then there's also other emulated servers. People will think, oh, well, you're on P99, so you think P99 is the best. When it comes to classic to Velius, that content, yeah, I do. But that's not for everybody. I've seen lots and lots and lots of threads of people being like, oh, Luckland, oh, Planes of Power. I hate Luckland. I love Planes of Power. And so I understand not everybody wants it to end at Velius. And there's other emu projects that I think are run by good people and are worth playing on. And like I said before, that's just to name a couple. It's Project 2002. That's I'd say PEQ. I'd say the Easy server is awesome. The guy who's running it is Acadius now, and he took
The other
over.
guy died, didn't he?
He did pass away, yeah. But Acadius picked up the reins and he's keeping it alive. And I mess around on that server sometimes. It's fun to do. You might not realize it, but it's fun to do new things in a world that you're familiar with. And so while there is definitely some custom content going on the Easy server, it's just nice because it's a world I'm familiar with. It's my EverQuest world, but it's whole new adventures. And so it's a fun little way to mix it up for a little bit. But that's my answer, Saudio. And then Nemce, I'm going to ask you, what is the most rewarding thing about leading a guild on Project 1999?
I barely play this game anymore outside of guild activities.
Sure.
So I would have absolutely quit this game eons ago if it wasn't for the fact that I am a guild leader. Because I just really enjoy seeing people achieve things that they were not capable of prior to being in my guild.
Give me an example. Like, what's your like? It doesn't have to be your proudest, but give me like one of the proudest memories you have of being a guild leader on P99. Something that you did, or that your guild did, or that you did, something along those lines.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of little progressions. When you get to Sky and like when you kill Bee Queen for the first time, and when you are able to, then there's another one when you're able to kill Sister of Spire 7 times, and then when you're able to kill the entire zone on Island 1 by pulling it all because you just have really good people who are doing their job. One of my favorite moments was when I learned I didn't have to be in the game anymore. It was early on when we started killing things during the rotation, and we were killing a Talendor, and I was at Walmart, and my Skype on my phone starts ringing, and there's a very specific channel that when dragons pop, or when a prep mob pops, we all like call that one, right? So I answer and I'm like, hey, what's going on? And they're like, oh, Talendor pop. And I'm like, oh, I'm at I said I'm at Walmart at the beginning, but they didn't hear me. And then people are starting to log in, and I think it was against BDA, and we had to race and pull it because it was like one of those free mobs or whatever. And so somebody pulls it and brings it in, and I'm like, all right, who's tanking? And I said, all right, so make sure to throw some spot heals on this guy, and what percentage is the dragon at? Okay, great. Now toss heals on this guy because I'm sure he's low, and I'm saying this, and then we got it. And I was like, woohoo! It was one of the first ones we've ever got. And I was like, okay, great. So I've been screaming in Walmart, so I'm going to go ahead and go buy groceries. And they're like, what? You're at Walmart? And I was like, yeah, absolutely. And they're like, wow, how did you know to heal the person when you said? And I was like, well, I mean, their health is generally that low whenever the dragon's at that, percentage. So the guild became kind of autonomous after a period of time. And that was really cool.
That's nice.
Yeah.
It's a well-oiled machine you have there, sir.
They're pretty good. We've actually got a really cool system going on with the CSG, which I'm happy to talk about if that's of interest.
I would love to hear about your system.
Well, so we all have our own websites and bat phones that are proprietary to us, our own DKP system and way of looting things and awarding them. And then we have, when we go to raid things, we do rolls based on population. So however many people you bring to the fight is the amount of people that you get to, like, that's your roll, 1 to whatever. And then we trail off of that. So if there's 100 people there and 30 of them are Azure Guard, we do a roll random 1 to 100, and if it's 1 to 30, it's Azure Guard gets first pick. So it encourages you to bring people. And then we award it however we want. Then we all have our own website, but we also have like this joint website that's been coded by a guy in Omni, and a joint, what we call a Robin phone, because it's both all of our players are on it.
Right.
And so you either get Robin phones or you get Bat phones or whatever, but you show up whenever those things go off. And then we have on that same website, all of our banks are on there, but like when you sign up for it, you sign up as your character's name and then what guild you're in. And so it's one website for all of the people in the CSG. We also have a singular mumble that is tiered out so that we can be in our own thing, but certain people have access to talk across all of it whenever raid times happen. The raid leaders can do that so that we can communicate across all 3 guilds. We can bank across all 3 guilds but still be private. We can bat phone across all 3 guilds but still be private. That site also holds our tracker sheets, so we can all sign up to track whenever whenever you want. We all see the same information. It all holds our timer sheets, so we have 400 people getting timers for us. So I know everything, because we have all kinds of little rogues that we put, like level 16 rogues or whatever, that we put all over the world, just to get the FTE messages. So it's a pretty good infrastructure that we figured out. Make it work for all 3 guilds still.
I mean, yeah, from the sound of it, it's working. So that's the most important thing. I don't know how it's working, but I mean...
What do you mean?
I don't understand...
You have your doubts.
How, like, more than 2 guilds are able to work together on a thing. On live, I never really saw that, and even here, like, when I heard you guys were going to try to do your own rotation with 9 guilds, I was like, there's no way that's going to work. That's going to last, like, 2 months, and someone's going to do something, and the whole fucking thing's going to blow up.
That lasted, like, a solid year, though.
I couldn't believe it. I could not believe it.
Oh my gosh, so much of my life went to those private boards.
Oh man, reading those boards was something else, man. There were some crazy ass people posting on those boards. A lot of you had real good, down to earth, solid ideas. Don't get me wrong. But the small percentage of crazy people, those are the ones I remember the best. So, I tried real hard. I'm not going to name anybody, but I know, like, I tried real hard to stay out of conversations and not give my input. But then, I don't know if some people just didn't give any Fs or if they forgot that I read those threads from time to time. But some people would just straight up fire shots. And it's like, that makes me not want to help you. Mm-hmm. But, I don't know, I feel like I only really had to step in, like, 2 times, and one was right at the end when they were trying to do barriers of entry, and I just felt, I forget which mob it was at the time, but there was one mob that was like, this is the barrier to entry, and I was like...
Gornier.
Yeah, there you go, it was Gore, and I was like, that's unacceptable, like, you cannot do that.
Right. People still die to Gornier.
Yeah. Like, that was just a way to cock block, and I didn't like that. I took the genocidal tendency incident, like, real personally.
And I think I was not the person who had the biggest part in that situation there, but I saw everything that went through, and they were nice up to the point where they felt entitled. And then, did BDA and Taken just really go strong at them whenever they made a mistake? Sure, but they did feel entitled up to us. I mean, they made the first wrong move. I'll just say that way.
Yeah, but they had like 5 minutes of experience with the server and the politics and the history. Like, they had no idea all the shit that had been endured and trudged through to get to that point. Like, all they knew was from when they showed up to when they left. And we lost a complete new guild of people Not just, a new tag where we have Awakened, which is a new guild, but really they're people that have been playing here for years with Taken and with Rampage and with IB and with A-Team. And, this wasn't that. This was completely new people that didn't know the politics and didn't have alliances with, you know, big guilds. They weren't an alt guild of one of the big guilds. It was a completely new group of people. And maybe they didn't do things the way, maybe they did go against the grain. But I feel like in that position with what you guys had set up, it's kind of your responsibility to take them under your wings and show them how things go.
Right.
Either this is how you do it in Class R, or you go to the Class C arena and fuck with those guilds. But I don't know, that really rubbed me the wrong way. And anyone who had access to those boards probably knows it, because I'm sure I made posts about it.
I don't think they're still around, are they?
I have no idea.
I haven't looked for them in a long time.
But yeah, the genocidal oh my god, the genocidal tendencies thing and the Gornair for barrier of entry thing were the two things that really, the only two things that I could say, I wholeheartedly disagreed with when I saw them posted. The GT thing is what made me start sticking my nose into the whole Class R thing.
The what thing?
The
genocidal tendencies.
Yeah. I really just kind of let you guys do whatever you wanted because whatever you were doing seemed to be working. You guys weren't petitioning each other. I wasn't hearing complaints. And so I was like, you know what? I'm just going to stay out of that because if they're not complaining to me, then I'm not going to, if it's not broke, don't fix it. So sure. I just didn't mess with it. And then the genocidal tendency thing happened. And I just really did not like the way that went. Moving on. Do I have things? I do have things. Progi48 wants to know. I know it's not going to change, but why lock in old character models? I love the newer Luckland models, and I played every day when I could use them. What does it hurt to let people use them? I've stopped playing on this great server just because I cannot stand looking at my models anymore. Well, wow. First of all, sir, they're not classic. But second of all, we didn't take them away. I could be wrong. Don't quote me on this. But it's my understanding that we did not take away Luckland models just to take away Luckland models. We had some players exploiting some files, and so we had to add something that checked for specific zone files and load files. And while we were doing that, I think they just went ahead and did the character model thing, or maybe it was just automatically a part of it. I don't know. But we didn't set out to take that from you. It was just a side effect of something we had to do to curb some cheating players that were mostly on Red server.
Well, it was also, I wish I remember how it worked, but I was so young I was so innocent back then to manipulating all of the mechanics on the server. But there was a way that you could use the Luckland Ogre model or something to somehow manipulate a situation so that it was better off for you. There was some slight advantage or something. I don't remember what it was.
People are horrible. And they do horrible things, and that's why we can't have nice things. And so, yeah, I hope that answers your question. I got more. I got Tech Wu-Tang wants to know things. I'm pretty sure this is the guy who wants the surname Wu-Tang. You can't have it. I don't hate you. I don't hate anybody. Some players piss me off, but I don't hate any of you. And you can't earn my love. That would be favoritism. Ghostface wants to know if there's any progress on the PvP team server. There has been not a mention, word, or whisper about a PvP team server. If there is, we're going to post it. We don't keep secrets. So, I mean, we would want you guys to know. We'd probably ask for input at some point. But, honestly, until you hear us say we're not doing Discord, or until you see us launch a Discord server, I really would not expect any kind of PvP teams, anything, news, servers, anything, discussion, anything. Do you have any interest or opinion on PvP team server?
I mean, not really. I'd like a guild war ability. I'd like to fight a guild. That'd be fun.
Guild
But like,
War would be nice.
I'd like to like make it very intentional. I don't want to like go PvP while we're trying to kill a dragon. Although that might be fun. I
But you
would.
could do that. I mean, when things pop, you have 7 days, and so just do a Guild War for 4 days,
Yeah.
and then it avoids, the majority of the repops. I know some are less than 7, but majority are 7. So
Right. Well, and they're all on the same day. I mean, come on, you really only need it for 24 hours.
I know people cry about variance still. It's like it's one day now. It's pretty much one day.
Right. Just don't
Before,
plan anything on Sunday.
it was so much worse before when it's like, well, it could pop anywhere between Friday and Monday. Have fun.
Yeah, and then,
People,
there was no, since nothing was stacked, it was really hard to actually see mobs because the guilds that have so many people would just be all over everywhere. We saw a Clandakar up for 2.5 hours. That was nuts. I mean, that or no one cares about Sleeper's Tomb anymore,
Hmm.
which I think is silly.
well, I mean, a lot of people are butthurt about Sleeper's Tomb.
Which I can understand.
So,
But still,
I know.
the game is not over.
Indeed. Tamberlin, P99, and Trivonis. Thank you guys for following. I appreciate and like that. Spawn Halo says, please tell Azure Guard they cannot clear their way. You spelled their wrong. In TOV, you made a ruling on the raid forum saying everything must be pulled to entrance. I don't believe I ever said you must pull everything in TOV to the entrance. If I did, I need to be linked to that because that seems like something someone on drugs would say. Spawn Halo says they do have Guild Wars. It's called Red Server. Har har har.
Hey, I think people would actually go to the red server if they were able to transfer their data.
If people could do copies and test the water before decide, even if it was like a temporary thing where like you copied for 30 days and then you had to pick, like I think you'd get a lot more people trying red and liking red. But
absolutely,
you're going to be real hard pressed to find people who are like, yeah, no, I'm just going to give up everything I've ever done on this server on the chance that red will be better. And if it's not then I'm shit out of luck.
Right.
Like, people aren't going to do that.
Well, and think about it from the guild's perspective. Like, everybody on this server plays in a guild. There are very few people who are like, nope, I'm going to do my own thing. Because you really need to be in a guild on EverQuest if you want to experience a large portion of content. So the guilds don't want to go from having a huge community where they're actively participating in content to a place where they're not in a community and it's a completely different kind of community and they have lots of content that they can't get to. So I would never leave. And then you're also like leaving your guild high and dry. Because what if you're a crucial player in your guild, like you're a puller, and you need like 6 pullers now for TOV and other things. So if you were one of those high end players, you've got an obligation.
Right.
Yeah, not gonna happen. Not gonna happen.
All right. Dan.gif. Thank you for the follow. As a Fel 1, I'm talking with Nemce, the guild leader of Azure Guard. Easy Deezy wants to know, are Rangers cool or lame? And here's what I'm going to say. Most Rangers are very lame. People who play Rangers are very lame people. There are 2 people on this planet that I know play Rangers that are not lame and who I like those 2 people very much. One of them is my legal representation, but he's not with us this evening.
They're also very not lame now that they do the most damage on the server.
No, they're always lame. Epic Emu wants to know, why have variants and raid classing for guilds? Good grammar. How is this considered classic? Here's the thing. The raid system was fucking broken. And so we had to do something because you know what else is arguably worse than not classic? At least in my opinion it is. Looking at 150 people just sitting on Trakanon's spawn spot and letting RNG decide who gets the mob and taking all real any type of skill or contesting completely out of the equation. That's what I think is worse. And so we did what we needed to do to keep the raid scene competitive and not just the most boringest shit in the world. Deftonero. I don't think I've ever had to say your name out loud. But hello. There's not much going on. I'm streaming because it's Monday night.
What are you playing on your stream right here?
I don't know. Something in Velius. With Europa and Azure Guard. Look, don't question me. I do what I want.
Alright.
Eyes in the Dark. Hello. His only problem with Finny is Chrono equals RMT and I'm poor. I don't know exactly what Chrono is other than you can buy and sell it and you can use it for things. Like subscriptions or maybe XP pots, maybe? But I don't know really any of the details. There was 0 Chrono when I was an EQ player.
What is this of which you speak?
So on live, there's this thing called Chrono, and it's like platinum, I guess, in a way. Like it's a type of currency, but you can't use it to like buy things in game. You use it to buy things out of game for the game. So you can use it to pay for a subscription. It's basically alright. So it's a way for you to farm a bunch of platinum in game, and then you buy some Chrono, and then you pay your subscription with that. And that way, you're not actually paying real money to play EverQuest Live. You're paying Chrono, which you earned through doing things in the game.
So this is like, what's that game called? Eve? Whatever that space game is?
Maybe, I've never played Eve, so I don't know. Eve is the type of game I read about and then look up the real life money values of what was destroyed in those big fights and just shake my head and wonder like how many people probably killed themselves over that.
Mm-hmm.
So, dude, some of these kids are losing like tens of thousands of dollars in a single fight. I can't do that.
I call us immersed.
I can't do that. I can't do that. But yeah, Eyes in the Dark, I'm with you. I'm against any kind of thing that's a pay-to-win thing. I don't mind people being able to use it to pay for subscriptions, but I don't like that it's cross-server transferable, I guess. I don't like that people can farm a bunch of shit on one server and use their stuff to get ahead of people on a brand new, fresh server. I don't think Chrono should apply to any of the new servers, but again, it's a business thing. Like, I understand it. They need to get people there. And not everyone's willing to pay a subscription with money, but some people will be willing to pay with the Chrono, so it's a thing. But that's why I play on P99.
You don't play on P99, stop it.
That's true, but that's why that's why you should play on P99.
It's
Done.
a good server, you should come.
Whatever. Let me see. Dun, dun, dun. Celio has a question. He says, if you had to make a character on Blue, what class would you decide to make? I would make a Gnome Necro. If I ever decided to play on Blue, it's a hard decision for me personally, but after much thought, I think that's probably what I would end up rolling around as.
You said that before.
There's a very good reason for that.
Isn't that what you played on live?
It's not what I played on live, actually. No. I played an Erudite Mage for most of my life and then rolled an Erudite Necro. Or rather, took over my buddy's Erudite Necro when he quit. Leveled him from like 51 to 60.
You should play a human because they get eye patches.
I play a human in real life. Why would I play one in a video game?
Do you have eye patches in real life?
I can easily go down the street and get one for $1.
I mean, I guess.
It's just not exciting to me. Like, I mean, I'm a person in real life. I'm a human. I have bad night vision in real life. I don't also need it in my video games. I would like to be something more fun, like a gnome, feel like gnomes have all the fun. I feel like gnomes are probably the funnest race on all of Norrath. Like, after hours, if you could pick any little town to go party in, you will have the most fun with the gnomes.
I feel like gnomes exist in real life.
They might. They might. We don't have them here.
Where is here?
Chicago. We don't have gnomes.
There are no people with dwarfism in Chicago that like to tinker.
Well, yeah, we have the vertically challenged, but I don't know if they are tinkering.
Of the tinkering sort.
Yeah, see, that is something I do not know.
I know we could figure that information out.
What do you play, Nemce?
I play a magician.
Boring.
And a rogue.
Wait, do you play a
human magician?
God damn it.
What? What's wrong with you?
Why would you play a human magician?
Because I have an eye patch.
Okay. Okay.
And eye patches are amazing.
Yep.
Now, I'm not at the level of like well, see, isn't Snackums? Doesn't he have like a character that's a human with an eye patch and a mustache, like on every one of his characters?
I have no idea.
All of them are also epic. I think he's got one of every human class epicked with a mustache and an eye patch.
I don't even have fucking words for that. God damn it.
It's fairly impressive. I mean,
What
if you're
is
going to go all the
wrong
way,
with
go all the way.
No, don't go all the way that way. Why would you go all the way that way? Like, oh man, I'm gonna make fucking 8 human awesome people. Like, no. Stop making human characters. Human characters are the worst.
Well,
Except for monks. I understand. If you want to play a monk before Kunark, fine. But other than that, stop playing humans. They're just the worst.
Well, I also have a halfling rogue.
Okay. I like halflings. I'm not sure how I feel about their hairy feet, but I like halflings. They're like a poor man's gnome.
It's true. And Inaruk makes really good shoes for halflings.
And he probably did not make those shoes for halflings. Something tells me he doesn't like halflings.
Well, that's probably true. I don't understand the lore behind any of Inaruk's items, by the way. All of his new items. Like, I understood things before, but I don't understand like why he makes a mask of triumphant or whatever it's
Wait,
called.
you mean like the Velius items, or you mean like current EQ Live items?
No, Velius items.
Gotcha. I don't know, but you know what I will do is get a list of those items and create lore for them.
Would you really?
I will do that. I will create lore, and I will document it somewhere. I don't know if I'll talk about it on stream. I'll talk about it somewhere. I will make lore. I will make lore. Hold on.
This is the most exciting thing you've done all night.
Blah 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 blah. Sirken blah 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 responded in blah blah. Oh. I would have that fixed. Blah blah. Waiting on blah blah. I have a blah blah, so I wouldn't change. Highlight my name if you need me. I don't check this if not. Yeah, that's what I figured. Blah 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 blah. So I don't know what that means. I don't know what the policy is.
What are you saying right now?
I'm saying the word blah a lot of times. I'm reading Nobog words, and I can't read them publicly, so you get blah 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 as my brain processes words.
Can you give me every 5th word?
Yeah. Name, respond, if.
I will decode this.
So, good luck. I only gave you one message too, which probably isn't completely fair of me.
That's not fair.
Here's the thing. Right now, we're not enforcing, we're not punishing guilds who fail the ring war to pop a Dane and kill it. Is it a classy thing to do? No, it's not a classy thing to do. But we're not punishing for it, so I'm not going to say it's not okay. That being, I'm not going to make a new rule for it, because from what Nobog's saying, it's probably going to get fixed in the next patch. Don't quote me, but 98%. it'll be fixed with the next patch. So it is what it is until.
Well, let me say this. This is all I want then.
Sure.
All I want is just a post somewhere, anywhere, that says, until it's fixed, we will not be punishing for this infraction, because that's what it is. It's abusing. It is literally written in the rules. You cannot abuse and exploit. You cannot exploit, and it has been described by guides on the forums as an exploit. So for anyone to kill Dane at any point in time, because I mean the reason why this means something to me.
But
is
when you
because I
fail
camped
the
out-
ring war, are you just supposed to leave Dane up until a staff member resets it? Like, what's the other option?
I don't know what the other option is, but what I know is that if I touch that Dane out of an exploit, I'm breaking the server rules.
All right, I'm gonna go ahead and say that since I don't think we've ever punished anybody for doing that, we're not gonna make a new rule or start punishing people for it when it's going to most probably be dealt with in the next patch one way or another, which is what it sounds like from what Nobog said.
Can you reply to my post about that?
Is it in the raid discussion thing?
Yeah, it is. I'll link it for you.
I will. I'm not gonna do it right now, but I will say something.
I'll send it to you on Skype.
But yeah, no, I understand the concern there for players, so I will definitely post a thing. Nix, I have no idea what you're talking about with answering some guy's question about that kiss. The only borderline dirty thing I've done in EverQuest is I sexually harassed a wall a few weeks ago, but that's it.
I'm sorry, what?
Don't worry about that.
All right. I hope it's the kitten wall in Unrest.
It wasn't.
Dang it.
It was a wall in Crystal Caverns. That was actually a really good time. But
I feel like the scene from Dumb and Dumber is coming to mind.
I don't know which scene you're talking about.
Well, when he gets his tongue stuck on the ice pole or whatever.
Oh, Jesus. Alright, I do know what you're talking about. What's your favorite Velius helm? The custom ones.
Say the kitten one. Say the kitten one.
Is that a thing?
Oh my gosh, go find a high elf with the custom helm.
That's way too much work. I'm just
guy
going to
posted
say
a
the
link.
gnome one because it's got those red eyeball goggle things, and I think it looks amazing. Gnomes are the best. So thank you, Koraf, for your wonderful question. Spawn Halo wants to know, will the sleeper ever be reset? What do you think, Nemce? Should the sleeper be reset?
I mean, it's probably not classic, right?
It's definitely not classic.
Yeah, so probably not.
Yeah.
Thanks. What did you just invite me to do?
I don't know. I don't think we're going to reset the sleeper, but I'm not a dev. That's a Rogan Nilbog question. That is definitely not a Sirken question. If it was up to Sirken or if there's a vote, I would vote not to just because it's not classic. Maybe later down the road, much later, some kind of long, super elaborate custom quest that could reset the sleeper or something. Maybe something like that. But just to flip a switch and put things back, like, I don't like that idea at all.
Well, think of what it does. I mean, the day that happened, people started leaving the server, and what that means is that certain mobs became more accessible. I promise you that if there was a train war going on in Sleeper's Tomb, that Zlandikar that Azure Guard killed would not have been walking around for 2.5 hours. So good things.
That is true. That is a true story. Spawn Halo says he wasn't even killed until Planes of Power by a glitch. Well, unfortunately, on live they didn't have like 4 years of Kunark and VP to just absolutely annihilate the world. And he was probably harder on live. I don't know. You gotta remember, like, everything we do is based on research that we can find. And so sometimes it's real hard to get information on things, especially when a mob was only fought one time on each server. That makes it harder. I don't do the dev work. I didn't do research on the sleeper, but I can definitely imagine it was a giant pain in the ass. That's actually why things take so long, is the research. Research takes longer than the actual, like, dev work. like trying to get it as close to classic as possible. I truly believe that they could pump out, our devs is who I mean by they, could pump out a a custom content expansion much faster than we could pump out something like Velius, just because we wouldn't have to spend time researching. We could do things the way we wanted to do them. Amsterdam, I have no idea what your request is.
He wants you to tell him that you'll accept him as his boyfriend.
Oh, no, I don't. I'm not that easily won over. You're gonna have to work for it. Celdio wants to know, how often do I wander around off stream and do random things to players? Pretty much anytime I'm doing in-game petitions. I don't do them often, but I will do random little things when I'm petitioning, or answering petitions rather. And then sometimes I'll just be bored and I'll be like winding down my night and I'll pop in on some Twitch streamers, because we've got a bunch of wonderful P99 streamers. And I like to mess with people on stream sometimes. I might do something to their group, or I might just do something to them if they're by themselves. I like to do little things. So
Like
yeah.
cast illusions. You don't do that anymore.
I'm more sneaky about it.
Because I know that Eunomia was just awesome about that, and then she got the hammer on it.
Yeah, the hammer came down. Because here's the thing, like, I do certain things, and people don't realize that I've spent a lot of, like, first of all, I've been on staff for 4 years, so I get a little bit more rope than other people who just joined. But they see me do something, and they don't realize that I only do it once in a while when, certain people I know aren't around, so I won't get in trouble for it. I only do it in certain zones. I do it also, I cast it as a spell, so people can click it off if they don't like it. And guides can't cast spells, so they're actually changing your race, and that cannot be clicked off. And then they do it all the time, and then someone finally complains, and then someone else will be like, "Stop doing these things, everybody!" And then I gotta kind of tone it down because they ruin it for me. But now I just, I'm just smarter about where I do it, really, and what I do. Frogs aren't classic, but gnomes are, so I can still gnome bomb the tunnel. You might see an occasional frog, but unless you got proof, I'll deny I did it till the day I die. Bum, 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 bum. Spawn Halo, let me tell you something, sir. I actually have not said anything about the YouTubers, but you know what? Let me tell you something. I absolutely do love the YouTubers that do P99. I don't know a lot of them, their names. Like, I know a couple that I used to chit-chat with. One was Level 1 Undercon. One was Super Bobs and Bits, I believe. Bob. I loved them. I absolutely, I hate to say it, but I absolutely do spend more time on YouTube than I do on Twitch. But I get to know streamers better than YouTubers because I can interact with streamers. And so if I catch, like, Eyes in the Dark streaming, or Micah streaming, or anyone streaming P99, I can talk to them, and then I remember them more, and I kind of feel like I know them. Whereas the YouTubers, I'll watch their videos, maybe I'll leave a comment on a video, but then that's the end of our interaction. Like, I don't know if you'll ever comment back, because I'm probably never going to check back. Whereas on Twitch, it's in real time. And so you kind of develop more of a relationship with the person just because you're actually interacting with them. But I do love my YouTubers. I know there's a lot of people who found P99 because of YouTube and because of Twitch. But, each one has its place. I know some people like Twitch better than YouTube, or rather spend more time watching Twitch than YouTube, and the other way. And I just happen to watch more YouTube, but I know more streamer people, I guess. It's a weird thing that I'm going through in my life. What about
Micah's
you?
Pretty awesome. I like Micah.
It's the deep, sultry voice.
Yeah.
He
used to be in
lives
Azure
by
Guard
me.
For a while. Does he really? He's
Yeah.
in Chicago?
No, he's norther. But I mean, on the scale of the country, he lives by me.
I think I live by you.
Do you live by Chicago?
I don't know.
You
Hold
don't
on.
know? Go get a map.
I travel a lot for work, so I forget where I am right now
That's
currently. So I'll
even
just wait.
worse than not knowing where Chicago is.
I know, I know. Come on,
Like,
usually I
whereami.com.
I mean, I know where I physically am. I'm not on drugs, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how far. How far is? Okay, let's just say the state of Missouri. How far is Missouri from you?
Fuck. I don't. I was just talking shit. I don't even know where Missouri is. I want to say it's southwest. But hold on. I have to.
See, no one knows where Missouri is because no one lives in Missouri.
Missouri is the stupidest state.
Ah, if I didn't work here.
Nope, I just clicked on fucking news. Whoa, hold on. Let's back that up. Person of interest in Missouri deaths charged with stealing. That doesn't seem right. Alright, we're going forward again. Missouri. So it's apparently adjacent to the west to half of my western border. I should definitely know where it is. The St. Louis Rams used to play there until they became the LA Rams recently. I feel like I should have known these things.
Oh, you're only like 5. Oh wait, I won't say how far away because then
You
people
can
could.
say I'm in Chicago. People know that.
Yes.
There's like
Okay.
5 million people here. They're not going to find me.
All right. So you are within half a day's drive from me.
Yeah, the farthest that direction I've ever been is well, technically the farthest I've ever been is Omaha because I was fucking retarded and missed my stop and just kept going. And when I hit Omaha, I was like, "Nope, this is wrong." But yeah,
Did
I've,
MapQuest not exist back then?
I don't think so. But I knew where I was going. That's the other thing. Like,
Who
I
says
had
that?
done it before, so I knew my exit. I just wasn't paying attention and blew right past it. But yeah, no, Missouri, you're farther from me than Micah, I believe.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, if I'm correct about where Micah is, then you're farther. And Uber Bandit might be the closest person that doesn't actually live in Chicago. I know one person and one former person who I mean they're still a person, but they don't play here anymore. They used to live in Chicago, and then Uber Bandit lives just outside of Chicago. And then I know there's a couple nerds who live up in Wisconsin. Um, but one of them doesn't know that I know he lives in Wisconsin, I think. So I can't say his name. But
Oh,
if you live in
does that matter?
Wisconsin, there's a chance I know you live in Wisconsin. Evanston's not a real place.
Apparently,
Uh
I live really close to one of those forum trolls that everyone knows about.
oh.
Alarty. I think Alarty.
Oh shit, I remember a Lardy.
Well, I play with him now on. I also play on Nostralius. Not that I'm trying to promote another um, server, but which is a classic WoW server.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I had a bard in my guild who messaged you, and I told him he needed to because what he was doing was pretty OP. But he was killing Zlandikar solo.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember this?
Vaguely, yes.
Yeah, he was using a bunch of other. He was using a bunch of other mobs to kill Zlandikar because of the faction differences and
Right, right,
the
right.
AOE and everything. He just DA and let them all like tank him down with the rhinos or whatever they are.
Sure.
Um, and then he was really excited about that. And then you guys put an end to that. You put the hatchet on that, and he was like, "Oh, you made bards not OP anymore." And then he kind of lost interest in P99 and took a bunch of people over to Nostralius, where we found Alarty. And so now I get to listen to him and his pleasant voice in Nostralius.
Well, I bet you're real thrilled about that.
Well, I can see why
So,
he's a forum troll.
huh. My favorite forum troll of all time was Tiggles. Like, he is my absolute favorite because he didn't do dumb shit like just posting dicks or whatever, making stupid things. he would say things that were purposely designed to get under the skin of specific people. Like, it wasn't just random bombings. Like, he had targets and precision striking, and people would get so worked up. And anyone with a brain, you sit there and you're like, this is his goal, is to get you this worked up. When you get mad and slam your fingers on the keyboard, like, that's a win for him. And he doesn't care that he's wrong and you're right. He doesn't care that you're making sense and trying to, put words. He is sitting there giggling his little ass off because you're doing exactly what he wants you to do. And the fact that people entertained that for years, I just think is amazing.
Well, him and Tiggles, they were the dynamic duo, right?
I suppose, but I wouldn't put them on the same level. I hold Tiggles on a pedestal of trolls because I felt he did it the right way without, like, crossing lines or breaking rules. Like, he understood part of being a good troll was not getting banned right away either. The fact that kid could troll as long as he did and had the same forum account for as long as he did, I think it's impressive. So we're going to wrap up soon, but I am going to say hello to a lot of people and thank them for joining. Saldio, Amsterdam, Saradoc, Crixin, Eyes in the Dark, Alizward, Spawn Halo, Wistesso. Hello, Wistesso. Amsterdam, Evanston is not nice. There's like 2 blocks along the lake that are nice, and the rest is like one big-ass ghetto. Dun, 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 dun. Scrolling through. There was one more question I really did want to... Oh, Spawn Halo had a question. He said, do you only put guild leaders on your stream, or do you have anyone on your stream? I mix it up. Sometimes I bring in more well-known players like guild leaders. Sometimes I bring on casual players, people like Uber Bandit, who aren't above level 40 and aren't in a big raiding guild and casually play. Sometimes I bring on people just because they're other streamers who I enjoy. So from week to week, it's hard to say, like, you will get this every time, but you'll definitely get something. So that's a thing. Nemce.
Yeah.
We're just about out of time, so I'm going to tell you to say goodbye to people.
I'm going to be shameless in my goodbye.
Do it.
If you want to join Azure Guard, you can do so by going to azureguard.com. It's a very complicated URL, I'm sure. You will figure it out, though. You need to be above level 46, and you need to like people, because we care more about who you are as a person than the level at which you can manipulate the mechanics of this game to gain pixels that mean nothing. We enjoy being on Mumble, but we don't require it. We have bat phones if you want to wake up at 2 a.m. We can provide all of the life-ruining things that make EverQuest, but we don't require any of them. And
that's awesome.
Let's see, what else? Any religion, any political view, just go to our website. You'll find out more information. Oh, we just got a really awesome new banner, which we can't seem to get onto the forums because the time to edit has exceeded, and we have a petition in tint, wink, wink. Hopefully you'll get to see that soon. But thanks for having me on, Sirken, and thanks, community, for participating in the Sirken stream.
Yes, I really wanted to have you on last night, and Comcast was just like, fuck you.
You mean last week?
Whatever I said, yes. Or whatever you said. Ignore what I said. My words are all jumbled. I had a real rough, 4 days, and not, super bad. I understand there are people with real problems. My problems don't equate to that. But they were me problems, and I had 4 kind of shitty days, and so there's going to be mistakes tonight, and I'm going to say dumb shit like last night instead of last week. Nemce, I am glad we got you on, though, so thank you for doing that. I'm gonna put you on hold, and you can wait, or you cannot. That is up to you. I got things here. That's from you. Dun, 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 dun. Oh, I like the banner.
Yay, thanks.
Yeah, A+ job. Alright, now I'm putting you on hold. So, everyone, thanks for watching, listening, joining, whatever. If you liked it, hit the follow button. If you didn't, you should also hit the follow button, because here's why. If you like it, it'll let you know when I'm streaming again, and then you won't miss things. And if you don't like it, it'll let you know when to avoid me. So either way, you're coming out a winner. If you miss things and you want to catch them, youtube.com/SirkenP99. It will be there tomorrow. There are some things that only go on the YouTube, so you should check it out, because you might miss those things. And there's some things that only go on the Twitch. I'm hoping to give you more petition quests. You guys have a wonderful night. I'm Sirken, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.